probably one of the things that mayors fear is having to address the public under these conditions. But I want you to know that not only U.S. Conference of Mayors, but former Chief Ramsey, who is now a consultant to them, sends his condolences, and Chief, anything that he can do, he definitely says he would do that. I'm just going to again just thank you all for the turnout, understanding that this police force is has lost a member, and we understand how they feel, and the community wants you to know that we have your support, your back, and anything we can do as council members and as city, please call upon us. And I'll now turn it over to the chief.
Good morning. First of all, I would like to apologize to the media and the community for not speaking yesterday. You know, we try to be open and transparent as much as we can, but I think it was important that yesterday I needed to be with our family and at the hospital. So I want to thank Kelly and her staff for reaching out and putting this meeting together this morning. I appreciate everyone that's here. And I promise I won't take long. So basically what I want to do is talk a little bit about the situation that the incident that happened yesterday, kind of give you a little bit of a timeline, some things that happened at the hospital, support that we received, and we're going to talk about it as we move forward. So yesterday at about 6:45, 6:47, there was a a complaint about drug activity in the 1400 block of 16th Street. Two officers responded to that scene, Officer Thyne being one. Other officers were en route. There was an interaction at the vehicle. One point the passenger, there was a driver and a passenger inside the vehicle. The passenger was removed, and both officers were on the driver's side addressing the driver. Without going too much, because you have to understand, and I want to thank Mr. Gwynn for the call last night and the conversation, Chief Randall and the detectives that went through the process and are still going. Many of them have not gone home. But the front door becomes open. There's a conversation with the driver. Both officers are interacting with him. They ask him to step from the vehicle. He refuses, and then he accelerates. One officer was able to step out of the way, and Officer Thyne was not. She was drug in the vehicle, or drug outside the vehicle, for about a block. The vehicle came to rest as it smashed into a tree, where she was pinned between that door and that tree. Miss Ivy Reynolds was the front seat passenger. She was arrested for a drug charge. She's from the 700 block of Halifax Avenue in Hampton. She was taken into custody without incident. And Mr. Vernon Green, the second, was the driver. He was apprehended after a short foot pursuit by officers who responded, and he was taken into custody. Currently, he is being charged with felony homicide, felony evade and elude, and possession of illegal narcotics. The officers went back out and recanvassed that scene this morning. Additional evidence was recovered and taken in to property and evidence will be analyzed, fingerprinted, and the court process will take its place. And I want to stop there before we go any further. And I was thoroughly impressed with the officer's response, the professionalism. Captain Bullhurst from 2nd Precinct, Chief Randall and I just talked about the situation. He went to the scene. Chief Hudgens went down to talk with communications, and myself and Chief Grinstead went to the hospital. We got immediate assistance from Chief Johnson and the Newport News Fire Department, medical personnel that arrived and gave immediate aid, as did officers. Officer Thyne was transported to Centera Norfolk General Hospital. Upon arrival, Norfolk officers were waiting for us. Been assisted. Officers from the State Police, Hampton, and Chief Salt himself responded, and we had a good conversation. I talked to the hospital staff, the surgeon, and they did everything they possibly could. Apologize. So, Officer Catherine Thyne was from New Hampshire. She came to us by way of the U.S. Navy, where she remained in reserves. She's been with this department only a short time, since 2018, and she was currently assigned to South Precinct, the evening shift. She leaves behind, Officer Thyne leaves behind her mother, who I talked to on the phone last night, her brother, stepfather, and her 2-year-old daughter, Reagan, who looks just like her, and her loving partner. So, Officer Thyne was not with us a long time in this department, but I remember when I met her, when she sat across me in my office. We meet each new employee, each new recruit that wants to join this department. And this is what she wanted to do. She wanted to be in law enforcement, and she wanted to do it in this city. She very She was very active in the community, and sometimes we try to teach that, but she got it. And if you ever met her, if you ever saw her, all she did was smile. You'd almost start to laugh at her because she was always smiling. I don't know about what, but she was always smiling. She was very active in community events, stuff with youth. In fact, she assisted in coaching one of the basketball teams with the Boys and Girls Club that we play. Matter of fact, those games are scheduled tomorrow. We had a conversation, should we cancel them? And the answer is no. So she is and will always be a valued member of this department. As part of a tragic event that happened yesterday that will affect this department and community in the future of its existence. Officer Thyne, Katie, was a true hero, and she served this community. So, as we move forward, there's a lot of healing that has to take place. There's no time frame for that. It started, I think, yesterday. There were over 50 officers from Newport News at the hospital. Support that we got from Norfolk that assisted, that met us there, escorted us. Officers from Hampton, phone calls from across the country. All the police chiefs in the immediate area, up and down the peninsula, across the water. Our federal partners reached out. Some of the first phone calls I got. I think it's evident by the individuals in the room today and last night how much this department cares about our community and each other. And we will need that in the going days and weeks and months. CISM teams from all over the region will be assisting us in the weeks following to talk to our officers. We will lean on each other. We will lean on our community, our faith leaders, our city administration. We'll be offering counseling to officers, some that will be mandatory, some that will be ongoing. We talked to our department psychologist last night and again this morning. A couple thank yous that I need to say to our city manager, Ms. Rolfe. Thank you for being here in the conversation we had last night. The mayor, who was in D.C. and came back, and I don't think he was supposed to come back today, but he did. Howard Gwynn called me immediately. Sheriff Morgan, thank you for the advice. It was obvious, the emails, when I got home 2:30 this morning, I only went through half of the emails. It was amazing, the outpouring from the community, from our faith leaders, Pastor Maxwell, Pastor Riddick. Pastor Swan called me and we had a prayer together. I want to thank, I know I saw him, Chief Johnson. We were at his graduation. And he responded to the scene. And I want to thank you for your support. I could not be prouder of the 3 assistant chiefs that each took their roles. And as we move forward, leadership will become crucial. I want to thank the department chaplains, Dr. Cherry and others who responded to the hospital. I think she got pulled into about 20 rooms there yesterday. And then those that responded here to the scene. The detectives that worked through the night have not gone home. Forensics, who I think are exposed to and the hardest job in this department. And those who are at the hospital and the scene last night, they did an outstanding job, as I would expect. As we go forward, the days will be challenging. I encourage the department to lean on each other, members of the community. It's okay to cry, I hope. Officer Thyne is our family, and that's how she'll be treated and remembered. I will meet with her family hopefully later today. There'll be a lot of arrangements. I don't have details. We'll get through that. We'll make that happen. We'll make sure that their family is completely taken care of and accommodated. I want to thank the media for their respect. And coverage. I appreciate all of you, what you do. Chief Ramsey, we call him the godfather of law enforcement. Leaned on him a lot. Chief Boone in Norfolk I've talked to, and like I said, all the other chiefs in surrounding jurisdictions. I want to say this. It doesn't matter to me what branch you're in, what color uniform you wear. And we do not take this job to become rich. We take it because we care. about our families and communities, our cities and jurisdictions. Officers did not go home. Calls did not go unanswered. Men and women who were at that scene came to the hospital. Several of them handled calls throughout the night and then through the day. People still came to work this morning, and we still serve this great city. That will be part of Catherine's legacy here. I love you guys. And I want to thank you three for your support and what you did all night. So with that, there will be some things that happen around the department, some things we have scheduled. I think we have a great CISM team, but we'll be bringing some departments from around the jurisdiction to talk with us. We'll be working with Howard Gwynn, the Commonwealth Attorney, and the detectives, collecting evidence, putting the case forward. I'll be leaning on my friend Sheriff Morgan for advice. And we will get through this together as a family. We will continue to do what we do. The citizens of the city should know that although these tragic events happen, we will continue to serve the city to the best of our ability. I care about the men and women who live here, work and play and raise their families. I care about the officers who have been here and retired, and the officers that come to work today and will work through the night. Already officers of other jurisdictions and officers that volunteered to cover the shifts of those that work in South Precinct. I have one request to our community, is to be in support of this department and work together. And to our faith leaders, they've called, what can we do? Maybe this Sunday, just take a minute and pray for Officer Thyne and our family, this great city, and the men and women who serve it daily. Do not expect anything less from this department than the professionalism that we try to do every day. I promise you that. We care. That's why we're here. That's why if the fire marshal will tell me I have too many people in this room. Jeff, you might have to step in and handle that. But I want to thank the mayor and the city manager for the support, Sheriff Morgan, Howard for the phone call last night, the words this morning, our chaplains, our faith leaders, and all those officers that gave support last night that showed up at the hospital, who've been here through the night in the other jurisdictions. We are a family, and we will get through this one day at a time as we move forward. I will do my best to take a couple questions, and then we're going to break here. I apologize I don't have more. Please respect that this is still an ongoing investigation, ongoing case, so I can't release too much about that. But I understand that there's questions that the community may have, you may have, and I will try to address them as much as I can. So if anyone has a question, I'll give it my best shot.
Chief, could you give any more detail as to how you said she was on the driver's side of the car, and could you give any more detail as to how she might have gotten pinned, or how she might have gotten
Sure.
caught in the car that was accelerating?
So I can tell you that there is body-worn camera footage. I didn't see that till I got back from the hospital. We looked at that as a group last night. It's very clear. I don't want to go too much into that, but I will say that she was, there were two officers at the driver's side door. The door was open. They were asking the individual, Mr. Green, to step out. He refused. They were having conversations. The point that I guess was the car was pushed to start. He accelerated. One officer was able to step out of the way, and she was not. You see it.
Was she in front of the door?
It's kind of inside the door. inside between the door and the vehicle. And like I said, she was drug about a block, and then the vehicle struck a tree, and there was an impact there. Medical personnel did a phenomenal job, and I want to thank Norfolk General Centera. The nursing staff, the surgeons, they did outstanding work. Very respectful. But I can't really go much more into that. We'll break that video down, and we'll work with Commonwealth Attorney. Commonwealth Attorney came to the scene last night. They responded there, right there with us. And then myself and Mr. Gwynn talked this morning. I have the utmost respect and confidence in his team, and I appreciate all the support. But I can't go much more into that.
Okay. Was Mr. Green, were they planning to arrest him for the drug incident that had just happened?
I think it was all in the middle of the conversation. In fact, you would hear them talk to the female passenger that you're not under arrest, but you're being detained. It was a drug complaint, and I believe that they smelled a strong odor. I will tell you that they went back out this morning, recanvassed, and recovered some other evidence. But there's still some things that we need to do, items we need to have fingerprinted and sent to the lab, and that's an ongoing process. But it was kind of in the middle of that investigation stage. Anybody else?
Was Mr. Green wanted on any sort of, had he had any pending charges against him?
So I don't want to go into his criminal history. I'll just say that I don't believe that they had ran everything at that point, and I apologize. No way did the speaker's phone go off. I don't believe that they had ran him yet. They were trying to obtain some information and talk to him, and that was part of that process. It was all in the middle of a conversation. He was still seated in the vehicle.
Did you find out later that he had been wanted on some pending charges?
I don't want to go into that. I'm going to leave that up to the investigators in the Commonwealth Attorney's Office to dive in about motive and why. There was items recovered that need to be processed, and that kind of gives me a little bit of a clue of what was going on.
Chief, did Officer Shep use any weapons at all, or did you find any weapons in the car?
So we did recover evidence this morning. I don't want to go into exactly what that was. No officer fired. There was no exchange of gunfire, but we did recover several items of evidence this morning.
Weapons?
I don't want to go into that. I can't.
Chief, how old was Officer Thyne?
Well, 24. Like I said, she had been here short time with us, but she made a big impact on this department. Even we talked to some of her recruiters, and they were talking about the impact that she had on them. You know, when she first came on board and they met her, and she was full of life. She was always smiling, always. And I want to reiterate again, this is what she wanted to do and where she wanted to be, and we're going to honor that. Last time, guys. Any other questions?
So were the two officers, were they partners, or had they pulled up?
So I'm going to say this. They were not riding in the car together, but they both kind of got their seconds within each other, and other officers were coming to the scene. So I'm going to end it here. To the police family, I love you guys. Thank you for what you do every day. You all matter to me. Mayor, I'll let you close out, and after that, I hate to put you on the spot. I want to thank you for your phone call. Thank you. Thank you for the help that you all, respect that you've given us. And Dr. Chair, I'm going to ask you to come up, if you're able, to give us a closing word of prayer. I think it's fitting.
Again, I just wanted to let the police officers know that this community understands the risks that you take daily. We understand this. We appreciate this. This community is forever grateful for what you do on a daily basis. This is going to take a time for this community to heal, and please understand that we support you in any way that we can, and we're thankful for what you do daily. Dr. Chair, if you will.
Will you pray with me? Father God, we just thank you for Katie. We thank you for her willingness to serve this community. God, we don't understand why this had to happen, but we are thankful for her life. We're thankful for the legacy that she has left with this police department. God, I pray for all of our officers, those that are sworn and all of our personnel non-sworn. God, we pray that you would just cover them right now. And even in the midst of this pain, and even in the midst of the grief and the sorrow that we're feeling right now, help us to know that you're with us. Help us to feel your touch even right now. I pray for Reagan and I pray for her family. Let them know that Katie was loved. Let them know that her name will forever be a part of this department. God, when we call the roll on the day that we remember our officers that have been killed in some form of line of duty, her name shall be called, and she shall be remembered. We thank you for everything. God, we ask that you would go with us right now, and even as we leave this place, God, we pray your covering over every person. Help us to love one another and care for one another, and I pray for this great city of Newport News. I thank you for Chief Drew and all of the staff, all of the officers and all of the chiefs, all that came out last night. We thank you for Norfolk Centera that opened their doors and they served us. We pray your blessings upon this day. And above all, we say thank you.